Recording. Meatball George.
Hi, how are you, brother Meatball John?
Holy smokes! How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am excited for this week's slate of NFL football.
Can you believe we were waiting like crazy for football season? We waited like crazy for a training camp. Here we are. It's week 5. Oh my gosh.
It's flying by. Yeah.
Flying by.
Tonight is Wednesday. We're recording this on Wednesday night, and before the Steeler game, and I'm watching a football game. The local team here is University of Central Florida. They're on ESPN2 right now playing SMU.
Right.
So I've got that going. So they're the local team, and I've gone to a couple of their games this year. I didn't go, obviously. I'm not at this game. This game was postponed due to the hurricane. But it's been exciting. But the reason I'm bringing this up is they're halfway through their season.
Yeah.
You know, they got an 11-game season. This is game 5.
Yeah.
And it's been postponed. Most teams have already played this week. So, all right. A lot of the people who would be watching this, if they are Bills Mafia, a lot of them are going to be interested in how good Syracuse has done this year. They have an exciting offense right now, and
yes.
I thought with the quarterback they've had the last couple of years, I forget his name, Devy or something, he transferred out, and I was a little concerned. But instead, they seem to have gotten a young man in who is really well suited for what they want to do, for what they're doing. So good for SU.
Yes.
Good for SU. All right, so let's talk a little Bills Steelers.
Okay.
All right, so the Steelers as an opponent, when we looked at the schedule, you saw the first 6 or 7 games of the Bills schedule, and you knew that was the toughest part of their schedule. Before the season started, we had probably suspected that the Steelers wouldn't be one of the stronger teams in the league.
Right.
But they're really struggling. Offensively, they are truly struggling, and defensively, they've lost their best player.
Yeah.
So I think he's done for the season, but he's certainly not going to be playing this week. They still have, in the defense, they still have Micah Fitzpatrick, and they still have that wonderful defensive tackle is Haywood.
Yes, they've got a couple of great defensive players. And, they got some weapons on offense, too.
They've got some wide receivers on that team. They got
Jamar Chase. They've got Freiermuth, the tight end. They've got
Chase, I think, plays for the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about there. I'm sorry.
But they do have a tight end. Yeah, they do have a good tight end.
Freiermuth is the tight end. And
they got a wide receiver. I know.
Yeah, I just confusing the name here.
They got a good wide receiver. They've got a nice little group. Unfortunately, getting them the ball has been a problem.
Yeah. So now they're going to bring in a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And, he played for Pitt, his college. So now he's playing at his home pro team, but he's going to start his first start, and it's going to be on the road in Buffalo. Now, Buffalo and Pittsburgh are not that far apart, so they could have some fans in Pittsburgh that might root them on, but you're facing the Bills Mafia, I don't think they'll even be heard. They may be waving their yellow towels, but I don't think they're going to make that kind of an impact in Buffalo.
Actually, on a serious note, I think that what you'll find is, yes, they will have some fans that will travel. And there's people in Western New York who are just straight up Steeler fans.
Oh, sure.
Steelers they've got a wonderful tradition. So they've earned their fans. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so there's a 14-point spread, George.
Yeah, 14-point spread in a pro football game.
I was about to say that looks like a college game.
Yeah.
Under-over that I saw today.
I saw 47.5. What'd you see?
43.5.
What?
Under over 43.5 is what.
That makes more sense to me than the 47.5.
And I know people were talking about maybe taking under. That the way that this game ends up being over is if the Bills have an offensive explosion and they get to 40 by themselves.
Mhm.
And it might be over 44 because you got Pittsburgh gets a couple of field goals or a touchdown and a field goal, and then you're over. But the Bills defense, I think a lot of people are thinking they're going to shut out Pittsburgh, and the Bills may put up 4 or 5 touchdowns, but that's still going to be under 44.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That was an interesting line. We'll have to see if that moves. Sometimes there's money's put down just before the games, Saturdays and Saturday night, and we'll see if that line moves. If either of those lines move, if the point spread goes up or down or whatnot. But holy smokes, that's outrageous.
Mhm.
All right. How do you see this game going?
All right. So our Buffalo Bills, favored to win the Super Bowl, but they just can't seem to get their offense gelling the way they should. They did play extremely well in the first game. They played really well in the second game, but we commented in both of those games that it was almost totally Diggs and Josh Allen. And they're really not getting much out of anybody else. And this last week against Baltimore, we saw Josh Allen. He threw a pick, didn't he?
I know there were some tip passes.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about the Bills' defense stopping these Steelers. I'm concerned about the Bills' offense with turnovers. If the Steelers generate a pass rush against Josh Allen, and if the Pittsburgh backs can shut down Stephon Diggs, he might panic. He might panic with, that's what his nature is. He panics and he wants to make big plays and he ends up throwing interceptions, or there might be we got rookies out there. The running backs haven't been that great. We've seen fumbles. I don't want to see 2 pick sixes against Josh. All of a sudden, Pittsburgh has 14 points, and we're still trying to figure out how our defense has been incredible. You know what I mean? It's just hard for me to want to say that you should take a 14-point spread against the Steelers. I know it's in Buffalo. I know they got a rookie quarterback. And this, to me, could be the trap game where the Bills are looking ahead to Kansas City the next week. And, we still got injuries. And this is the game I'm kind of scared of.
Okay. Well, I got to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple things.
Okay.
The Josh I see is not a Josh that gets scared.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he didn't prove that over the last 2 years, this year alone, that first game of the season, those turnovers, he didn't care.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He went out and performed. He went out and executed. Against the Dolphins, that's the kind of game where the Dolphins got out to a lead. We had the weather disadvantage, and he didn't panic. He just led his team. So I'm not really worried about that. I also am not particularly concerned. Like, so far, this Bills team hasn't really fallen victim to too many games that could have been trap games. I'm thinking back to that 13-3 season.
Yeah.
They lost to Cardinals on a Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Now, the Cardinals scored, caught up to them. The Cardinals made a comeback, which I was a little disappointed about. But I didn't really. I kind of brought that. I really chalked that up to luck. They got their ass kicked by, I think that year. They get their ass kicked once every year. I think that was by Tennessee. That happens. Just like last year, they got knocked around by Indy. They did have that game in Jacksonville game, the game against Jacksonville.
Right.
I happen to I live in Central Florida, and unfortunately, although I'm not very close to Jacksonville, I am in the Jacksonville market.
Right.
So I get coverage of Jacksonville. And even though they had Urban Meyer as their coach, that defense is not bad.
Yeah, and they've got some weapons on offense. They got that Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
They got Trevor Lawrence is finding a way to get him the ball.
I'm talking about last year.
Yeah.
They had a losing record, but that defense rose up a couple of times. It's not freaking Indianapolis a couple of times last year. So, but it was a trap game, I think. And that one there, that I think you're right, they did come up. That would be the one game in the last 2 years that I think has been maybe they were looking ahead there.
Right.
But I would say to you that this team or this coaching staff seems to be able to get this team to focus on one game at a time.
Right.
So I'm not as worried about that. Rookie quarterback. This could be one of those games. The defense likes to do it. I know we saw them blitz a little bit in the second half against the Ravens, and boy, it was effective at times. But this could be a situation where they use that 4-man front and get plenty of pressure.
Bob or John, the Bills should make cow patties out of that quarterback. I mean, really, it's a rookie not his weapons aren't the greatest. If Najee Harris can't really establish a run, then this kid might be doing a running for his life. But I'm really concerned about the Bills offense not playing the way they should, having so many injuries. And if they fall into the trap and fall to 3-2, they're going to have to go to Kansas City. They're going to have to go on the road to Kansas City and force to win, or they could find themselves in third place with the Jets leading the division.
Okay, well, that is a far.
Oh, that's crazy stuff to say. But the Jets are 2-2. They win their next two, and the Bills lose. The Jets are
well, before they can win the next two, they have to actually win them. So that's going to be that's going to be hard enough to have happen. And then you got the Bills have to lose too. Miami's got to lose.
Yeah, but don't the Jets play Cleveland this week?
Who would you rather have, Jacoby Brissett or Zach, whatever the hell his name is?
Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson.
Would you rather have Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
You thought that much of it. Okay, well, all right.
And they got Brees Hall. Yeah, they got Brees Hall. They've got a decent defense. You'd be surprised. I'm telling you, if the Bills lose this game, they're going to be forced to go on the road and win in Kansas City, or they're going to find themselves beneath the Jets in their Super Bowl season. I hope it doesn't happen.
Good.
I just think the Bills are not that sharp on offense that they're going to bury the Steelers. They don't play well against the Steelers. Traditionally, they have not played well against the Steelers. Yeah, they don't have, J.J. Watt?
Right. Well, one of the Watt brothers, yeah.
One of the Watt brothers. But they do have that Hayward, they're moving him around. He's getting pressure on quarterbacks. If the Bills wide receivers and running backs can't get open,
so
I think you're going to see Josh make some mistakes. I think the Bills can win this game, but I do not see a blowout at all. I see a close game, and it's going to take good management again to actually win this game. I'm glad it's only their second game at home, but it's great. It's good that this game is at home.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. I think it's their third game.
No.
Did they beat Baltimore in Baltimore?
Yes.
Oh, well then okay, then you're right. All right. So let's think of wide receivers.
Okay.
We mentioned in the last video, Tavon Austin is gone. He no longer wants to be with the Bills. So they mutually agreed to separate.
That leaves them on their practice squad. That leaves them. They got Marquez Stevenson on IR.
Yep.
And they got Isaiah Hodgin on the practice squad. That's all they got left.
Yeah. As far as I know, they might have pulled somebody else in. Now that Tavon Austin is gone, they could bring somebody else in. I don't know who they would, but who they would. Now, is there a Tanner Gentry? He's not on the squad. He's not in practice, but they caught him.
Yeah,
they could. Floating around out there. It might be somebody they could bring back if they wanted, and if he's willing to come back. All right. They've got Diggs. They've got a guy. They got Gabe Davis, who's barely able to walk.
Right.
Kumro's still out.
Yep. They got a rookie to go into the slot, Shakir.
Well, slot schmott. They might have to use him as wide receiver.
Well, they got to put somebody in. Who they gonna put in the slot? Another tight end.
Running back. Yeah, that's right. That's where we're at.
And what happened to our fullback last week? They were throwing to him all over the field last week. We didn't even see him once in the game.
Yep.
I just don't know what's going on with the offensive play calling. I'm really concerned. And if they don't get it pulled together, this could be a mess of a game.
Well, I'm trying to point out that they have some deployment, but they just have a weakness here. They don't have enough people.
Yeah, you're right. They've just
no matter what
thought their strength going into the season was that their offense, that Josh Allen had so many options to throw the ball. And now when you're up at the center and Josh Allen is looking hike one, hike two, and he's looking around, the guy over here, he's hobbling. The guy in the slot is a third stringer, maybe a rookie. The running back that they drafted, he ain't done anything. Moss, one of their veterans, he looks like he's running in quicksand. Their tight end, which is not Knox, he is hobbling around. They kept the kid Quentin Morris, tight end. He can catch the ball, but he can't block. I think the only weapon he's really got to count on is Diggs. And if they get into Josh's face and they shut down Diggs, which is not easy to do, mind you, I understand that. But if they pressure Josh, I think the Bills are offensively in big trouble against the Steelers defense. And I think it's the Bills defense is going to have to try and keep them in this game until the Bills make enough adjustments and figure out how to beat them in the last quarter. Yeah.
So you remember Earl Campbell?
Oh, sure. Love the guy. What a runner.
And Bum Phillips.
Oh yeah.
So I'm a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Watching a football game and the Houston Royals are playing.
Yeah, he had that big cowboy hat.
And Campbell is getting a lot of carries. I think he's had over 30 carries in the game.
Okay.
In the second half, the announcer goes, you may feel like it's unfair how much they're using him. Because he's really, on every play, they're giving him a ball. On every play, he gets tackled. He gets hurt. Yeah, he doesn't get hurt, but he has to get tackled on every play. And the guy's like, the thing is, he's their only weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. He was a heck of a weapon, though. But he was their only weapon. That quarterback, Dan Pastorini.
I feel like that's where we're at with Diggs.
Yeah.
He's the weapon.
Yeah, he's the only weapon right now.
But he's what they got. And that's it. There was a play, Allen got rushed out of the pocket. He's running to his right. And I'm like, he's the kind of guy, sometimes he does that thing where you're not supposed to throw late. He's running to his right. He's going to throw to his left to the middle of the field. You're never supposed to do that, but he could get away with it because of his strong arm. Mm-hmm. And he's running, and he's looking, and he's running, and he's looking, and he throws the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody open. Some of that was, I think, because Diggs was covered.
Yeah.
And then that was it. You know, for a guy like Knox, if Davis was out there, I don't know, but Knox wasn't able to pull away from anyone because he's hobbling. If Gabe Davis was out there, I think he had the same problem. He was eminently coverable.
Yeah.
You know, so
if you're
to the Ravens, but the Bills just lack one.
You know, if you're the Bills and you decide, you know what, I'm going to play my healthy players, then Josh Allen's going to go up to the line. He's going to see Diggs where he's always at. He's going to look in the slot and he's going to see a rookie that's hardly been on the field in Shakir. He's going to look at the other end and he's going to go, oh, there's Isaiah Hodgin. He's been riding the practice squad bench for the last 3 years. And then he's going to look in his backfield and he's going to see, he'll see our running backs that so far hasn't produced very much. And that's what he's going to see as his weapons. Now, I tell you the truth, I'd rather see those weapons because they're healthy than all the rest of them that are hobbling, because we're going to end up getting Diggs hurt.
Oh, yeah. That's
and with those weapons on the field, I do not see this as a 14-point blowout by the Bills. I hope I'm wrong. Boy, I'd like to come back and say, oh, was I wrong?
You mentioned.
I think that the Bills defense, I mean, we may need scoring by the Bills D to get past this game.
Look, you mentioned Diggs getting hurt, which knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But in that last game, in the fourth quarter,
he hobbled.
He was having some cramping issues, and he would go out, catch a pass, go or run a route, take himself out. Back on a route, take himself out.
Sooner or later, if he's the only one catching a ball, the opportunity is there for him to get tackled and get hurt somewhere. And if he goes down, you may as well just save your players and just forfeit for the next couple of weeks until they come back.
All right. I don't know if you saw this. Somebody found an angle. So you remember I don't know if it was the last Bills drive against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Singletary had that wonderful run, and he stopped short of the end zone.
Yes, right.
Right. Singletary had a run in that drive where he fumbled, but he got his own ball back. It wasn't shown during the game. The production truck, whatever, they didn't see it, but they found it later. NFL found it later, and it came out in one of the highlights. Can you imagine, like, if that at that point the game was tied? If he fumbles in Baltimore's end, there is a possibility that the Bills defense could have stopped them and they would have gone over. There's also a possibility the Ravens would have gotten field goal range and Justin Tucker would have kicked over.
Yeah.
Right. So it was, as much as our running backs are healthy, our running backs are turnover machines.
Yeah, that's what they've been. You're right.
That's well, Cook. Well, he did fumble actually. I was going to say Cook. I don't want to throw him in with that mix because he doesn't have a track record of fumbling the ball. But of course,
his very first touch ever, he fumbled it.
Fumbled the ball, yeah. So look, I think you're right. I think this might be a game where they activate Duke Johnson to get a healthy body that is a veteran.
Yeah, I'm telling you that offensive may have 40% brand new, maybe 50% brand new players on that side of the ball that we haven't seen.
Well,
very much.
The skill guys. We would have seen
the skill guys. Yeah,
most of the linemen, but
yeah,
that could be an interest. But I will say this: as long as they got Allen, they got a shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I'm saying I'd rather see Allen with healthy players than Allen with hobbling players. And I'd rather see Hodgins in there than a guy hobbling down the sidelines like Gabe Davis because he could block. I don't want him to block. He's going to be out for 5 more weeks. Just, you know what I mean?
I said,
they got to get healthy.
You have an official prediction. Are you taking Pittsburgh with the points?
Oh, I would take Pittsburgh with the points. Absolutely. Yeah.
Pittsburgh's okay. So definitely predicting a close game. I'm predicting a Bills victory.
Yes, I am. I think the Bills are going to beat them. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think it might be like 21-17, something like that.
All right. So I also have the Bills victory, but here, like last week, I was predicting a close game with the cover, and I did get that right. But
you did, and I had picked them to win by like 7 points. Had we scored a touchdown, I would have had it. But I'd rather that they did what they did, and you were right because we got the win.
Well, it was a close game.
Yeah,
not really well. I was thinking it'd be a close game.
Either way, it's a one-score game.
I got a touchdown at the end, and now they would have won by 7. I would have felt like it was a close game, but
it still was a close game. It would have been a one score.
There they are, but I thought this I don't think will be that close because of the ineptitude of the Pittsburgh offense.
Okay.
And I know you mentioned the Bills defense may have to score. I think they might score. I'm even predicting a Buffalo Bills defensive score. I don't want to say who. I don't know who might score it, but I think turnovers are going to be the name of this game for the Bills defense. I think this is the game where they get their. This is the day where they get their turnovers, where they don't give up many yards, they don't give up any points, and they pad their stats.
John, I'm looking for. I would call 5 sacks.
Maybe, yeah.
And
that's what I'm thinking.
And I think that's what's going to keep the Bills in the game. I just think they're going to have trouble moving the ball like they normally do. And we're going to see a lot more punting from the Bills. But eventually that they'll score, and I think they'll win the game. But I don't think we're going to see them score 40 points because I don't think their offense can do it right now.
Yeah, no, I got you. I understand where you're coming from. I'm basically saying.
Now, if they sack him and Pickett fumbles on his own 12-yard line, then the offense could score. So, but on just a regular, that's just my pick this week. I think that's a tougher game for the Bills because their offense is so strapped in injuries.
They are.
But I think their defense is phenomenal, and we'll keep them in this game.
Listen, if they were playing Baltimore again, I would
I'd pick Buffalo again.
I mean, I would call another close game, and exactly the same reason why. The Bills' offensive injuries throughout the team, but in particular on the offense.
They're worse this week than they were last week.
All right, we won't know the outcome for a couple of days.
Yeah.
If anything happens that's very exciting between now and then, we might put up another video.
Yeah. And if we get healthy, then maybe we'll have a chance to win the Kansas City game. But that'll be next week. We'll see what happens in the next week and in this game.
Just as a side note, it's Wednesday. As far as I know, Tre'Davious White still hasn't practiced. So although he's eligible to come off IR, he did not, as far as I know, not practice this week. We're not going to see him in this game.
Well, you know what? If something crazy happens between now and then, we can come back with a short video and do a little bit of an update or whatever we need to do based on if something happens. But right now, the way things are, I see it as a closer game. You see it as a wider spread. And we both picking the Bills to win. Are you picking it over? I'm picking under.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't picking over under at all. Probably under though. I'm just thinking Pittsburgh isn't going to score basically. They're going to score very, very little. So,
you think the Bills can score more than 30 points?
I'm picking them for the high 20s, low 30s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So 27-14 is 38. So that would be under.
Yeah, that'd be under, and I don't know that. And I'm thinking
it'll be a 14-point spread.
14 for the Steelers is too high.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, great. We will see you all next week, if not earlier.
Okay. This one's short and sweet, but it was a good one.
All right. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the game.
All right. Bye. Go Buffalo. Go Bills.
Bills.